If you're not fishing the drop shot, you're missing out on a technique that can help you catch a lot more fish. Hey guys, welcome to the Goal Fishing Channel. My name's Jake. Goal stands for Get Out and Live. Today's episode is all about the drop shot and how it can help you catch more fish. So up until about a year ago, I hadn't been using the drop shot much. I remember I was at a spot where the week before I was just cranking fish in on a crankbait and jerk baits, but this trip was different. I wasn't catching anything on these spots where I was before. I mean, it was dead. There was nothing that was biting what I was throwing. And these guys come by in their boat and they're pulling in fish. And so I'm asking them what they're using. And they were using a drop shot with a robo worm on it. And I didn't have a drop shot, but I did have some Texas rig bullet weights. I rigged up a makeshift drop shot with what I had, and I actually had too big of worms as well, so I had to cut like a 9-inch worm into a 5-inch worm, and then I chucked it out there, and within 5 minutes of switching over to a drop shot, I had a fish. And since then, it has become a staple in my fishing repertoire. It caught most of my fish throughout the wintertime when things were slow, and it's just a solid technique that can help you catch more fish. So let's get into the details on how to make it work for you. So when I'm fishing a drop shot, I like to throw braid to fluoro. So I have 15-pound Power Pro braid with 10-pound P-Line Tactical fluoro. So one of my favorite drop shot hooks is the Mosquito, so Owner Mosquito fine wire hooks. This is a size 2. I've loved them. They're really good with the hook sets. So the knot I use for the drop shot is the Palomar knot. Probably the most used fishing knot out there. You take your line, and I'm gonna go from the top once. You're gonna pull yourself a good 2 feet or so through, because you need a big tag line for the drop shot weight. You're gonna go back through again, so you're doubled up. Make sure you have about 12 inches or so for your tag line. You'll always be able to cut a little bit off if you need to. So basically you got a loop on one side, and you got both you're doubled up in strength there. You're gonna take the loop and you're going to tie an overhand knot with that loop. And once you get the overhand knot, you're going to take the loop and you're going to put your hook through that loop and then pull it tight. You need to lubricate this as well. You got to get it wet or it'll mess with your line strength. If you get it nice and lubricated, it'll tighten down without any problems. Now you see my hook is actually upside down, and it's hard to tell which way the Palomar knot's going to have this thing sitting. So we actually need that to be facing up. So you're going to take your tag line and you're going to go back through the top of that hook, through the eye of the hook, pull it tight, and that'll face the hook up. And that works like a charm. Super strong knot and super easy to tie. In our weight, I'm using 1/4 ounce. 1/4 ounce is what I use the most. So if you're just starting out, I would start with some 1/4 ounce. So the length of your leader just depends on how far up off the bottom you want your bait to be. And when I'm fishing like a worm, I'll probably go around 8, 10, 12 inches. Sometimes I'll even go clear up to 18 inches. And the main reason is fish like a natural fall. And so when you're casting it out and dropping it, picking it up, you're able to get that thing 18 inches off the bottom, and then you have a nice slow fall 18 inches off the bottom until it hits the bottom again. And that's usually when the fish are going to pick it up, is when it's falling slowly down. Having that 18 inches sometimes, especially in like the winter time when it's really slow, you're able to work your bait and then just let it slowly fall. You give it slack and then let it slowly fall. So that's when I'll go with an 18-inch. Also, 18 inches is great, or 12 to 18 inches is great when you're working a swim bait, a nose hook swim bait from there, just because your weight's down a little bit farther and you can feel it clunking the bottom, and your bait's about 18 inches off the bottom. So I like that. Today I'm probably going to be about that's about 10 inches right there. So you just slide it through. So these cinch down on your line. I don't quite like just leaving that, so I'll tie one overhand knot and pull it tight. And then I like to cut my tag ends. I leave about, you know, 1/4 inch, something like that on there, but I don't like a ton of tag end floating around. I like things nice and clean, makes the presentation more natural. Hook, line, and sinker. Boom. Right there. We're throwing the 4.5 inch, or at least we're going to start out with this 4.5 inch Robo Worm Morning Dawn color. And the way I like to hook them is I don't like to go all the way through the nose. I like to come back on the bottom about basically just a little bit more than the length of the front of the hook, and I'm going to hook that and come up through the middle of that worm, so that, there we go, so that the hook point is going to be coming out right at the front of that worm. It just hides it a little bit better, and I feel like it gives it a little bit more action. When they bite down on that, it just goes straight into their right into their lip. I personally like that better. Alrighty, enough about tackle for a minute. Let's go get on the water and talk about technique. Oh yeah, yeah, he's cute. He's cute. Oh man, he's got a big old gouge in his side. Huh, weird. I love drop shot fishing. It is fun. That finesse fishing, you just kind of get a chill. Like, it's one of those days, if you just want to relax and take things slow, drop shot fishing is how you do it. And yeah, look at how nasty that is. All right guys, so the drop shot is something that you want to work slow, at least with the worm and the craw. The benefits of the drop shot is that you get down into a spot and you can keep it in the strike zone for a long time. So you just chuck it out, let it sink to the bottom, and with the tip of your rod, you're just jiggling every now and again and then letting it go slack. I give it some slack to let it just fall down. That slow fall oftentimes is when the fish are going to pick it up, and then you just lift it back up, few more twitches, and then let it sit. And it's really that simple most of the time. Now with braid, you'll want to pay attention to your line too, because you can watch the fish hit, especially if you give it slack like I do. But most of the time what you're going to feel is just the weight behind it. It's different than your normal bait. And when you feel that weight, give it to them. I think we got us another one. Yep. Whoa, he just decided to fight. Just to make it easier on myself so he doesn't flop everything around. I'm using my net. All right. Oh, he wasn't hooked that great. Yeah, nice little one. I love drop shot fishing because when you can find a school that's hanging out down there, you just keep on them. A little worm like this, a 4.5 incher, is gonna catch a lot of little fish too. If you want to go for bigger ones, a better way to go about it, what I typically catch bigger fish on is by going with like a yum dinger or a Senko and wacky rigging it. You get that right in the middle, right there, or even like a 6 or 7 inch trick worm. That's a more natural color, and that thing's just gonna wiggle on the bottom down there, and it's gonna drive those guys nuts, the bigger ones. So we're gonna see if we can't catch a bigger fish by chucking out the wacky rig. And when you're fishing the wacky, you just kind of wiggle it. You're just kind of popping and giving a little bit of slack, and you just want that thing to flap. Flap like a birdie down there. Yum dinger hasn't produced anything. I've fished it for about 15 minutes or so in an area where I'm seeing fish and they haven't picked it up. So I'm gonna switch to this is a power bait earthworm color, just trick worm, a 7 inch trick worm. And it's a little bit bigger profile, very meaty looking. If I were a fish, I'd eat it. Looks yummy. So we're gonna give that a try for a little while. Oh, that felt like a fish. First cast after we switched to that thing, we picked up a fish. Now it doesn't feel giant, but doesn't feel bad either. Nice, he's a 1.5-pounder. That's one of the downsides of the drop shot right there, is you get tangled up a bunch when those fish start flapping around. So that's why I pinned him with my legs. Yeah, that's a nice little fishy. I'll catch these guys all day. They make me happy. Bye, dude. That weight, when they flop, it just twists and swings all over the place. So that is something you'll have to learn to deal with. It catches fish for sure, but it has its downsides just like anything. We picked it up pretty quick once we got in there. Well, it's got a decent head shake. I don't think he's a giant, but he's not a giant. Oh yeah, all day long, baby. So I actually switched over to a power worm. This one is the Tequila Sunrise color. It's like a pink and purple mix. I ran out of my robo worms, but these are pretty close to the same, and they're scented really well. Another solid bait to use with the drop shot. And they got that nice little curly tail to give it a little more action. Yeah, another thing that's really great about the drop shot is it works year round. I love this thing in the wintertime. I love it in the summertime when it's hot, getting down there deep. It's just a solid bait year round. Got him. Got him, got him. Stay out of that tree, buddy. Get out of there. Oh, he got me hung up in the tree. Oh, get out, get out, get out. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's a nice smallie. Ooh. Come here, buddy. Got him. Woohoo! Nice fish. Look at that nice dark smallie, guys. It's awesome. A lot of fun. This right here is some of my favorite stuff. It's coming straight down. There's nice little boulders and rocks all over. And then you got these points and secondary points. I'm looking for those areas that are gonna be dropping down nice and steep, and we're gonna drop that worm right in the channel where these fish are hanging out. Today, that's been around 12 to 15 feet. I'm sitting right now in 17, but I'll even get up into that 15 foot and I'll cast parallel to the bank and just bring it through. I've been just cruising around at about a mile an hour, just hitting pockets, letting it sink down. Nothing picks it up within a couple of twitches, then I move on. There's a fish. Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Okay, we had a fish in a tree. That was a giant. I felt it, and he swam straight into the tree. I was hoping we were going to get him out, and he snapped us off. I think we got wrapped around a twig and he swam and busted our line. Oh my gosh. Oh, that hurts. That hurts so bad. It's going to take me a second to bounce back from that one. So I got to get retied and get a drink of water. Get back in the mindset, because that sucks. That's a decent fish right there. Oh yeah. That's it. That's what we want. This might be the best one of the day right here. Yeah, that's probably the best one of the day. He's 2.5, maybe getting up close to 3. Solid fish. Drop shot is killing it. Catches big fish too, guys. It really does. Alrighty, buddy. Let's go back in the water. Got him. Come on, bud. Oh, we got him. No more jumping and spitting, huh? Holy cow, he almost stole my net. So you know what, guys? One of the key elements with fishing, drop shot or whatever it is, it's a mind game. It took me a minute to get back into it. You know, I've had moments today where it got really hard to stay positive. But a big part of the game is your mentality and how you view success with fishing. I actually did an entire episode on how I view success with fishing. You can check that video out right here. And as always, remember to get out and live. See you at the water's edge. Blah, 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 blah.